Hi from Gargi, and welcome back to the AIE Health Podcast. Today we are talking about something many of us now check every morning, and sometimes all too often during the night: sleep. Smartwatches, fitness bands, smart rings, mattress sensors, and phone apps have made sleep tracking feel wonderfully modern, almost like having a tiny sleep laboratory on your wrist or bedside table. They promise to tell us how long we slept, how much deep sleep we had, whether we were restless, and sometimes whether our breathing looked a bit suspicious. So the big question is this: are these devices genuinely helpful, or are they just clever gadgets feeding our curiosity? Quick note before we begin. This episode is for general education only and is not a substitute for medical advice. If you have persistent insomnia, loud snoring, pauses in breathing, or overwhelming daytime sleepiness, please speak to a healthcare professional. Sleep matters because it is one of the foundations of health. Poor sleep is linked with low mood, poor concentration, reduced immune function, weight gain, high blood pressure, diabetes risk, and heart disease. It is no wonder so many people want to understand it better. We already track steps, calories, and heart rate, so sleep feels like the next sensible frontier. If we can measure it, perhaps we can improve it. But sleep is much trickier than counting footprints on a phone app. A person can be lying still, half awake, dreaming, or simply exhausted in a very similar pose, and that is where the challenge begins. Let us start with the most common devices: smartwatches and fitness bands. These wrist-based trackers can measure movement, heart rate variability, blood oxygen in some models, skin temperature in some devices, and an estimated time asleep and awake. They are convenient, especially if you already wear one during the day. They are often useful for spotting patterns such as bedtime, wake time, and consistency. What they are less brilliant at is sleep staging. If a device tells you that last night included 43 minutes of deep sleep, treat that as an estimate, not a sacred truth. Smart rings work in a similar way, but wear them on the finger instead. Many people find them more comfortable at night because they are smaller and less bulky than a watch. They can be particularly good at tracking trends in heart rate, temperature, and recovery, and they may be a nicer option for people who hate sleeping with anything heavy on the wrist. Then there are bed and mattress sensors. These are placed under the mattress, on top of it, or built into the bed itself. They can track movement, breathing rate, heart rate, restlessness, and sometimes snoring or room conditions. They are brilliant for people who do not want to wear a gadget to bed. However, if you share a bed, your partner's tossing and turning may interfere unless the device is smart enough to separate sleepers. Some of the more advanced options are EEG headbands, which measure brainwave activity. These are closer to what happens in a sleep clinic because true sleep staging relies heavily on brain activity. They can be more accurate than movement-based trackers, though many people find them less comfortable and a bit more science fiction than they fancy before bedtime. Phone apps sit at the simpler end of the scale. They may use the microphone and motion sensors to pick up snoring, room noise, movement, and rough sleep timing. They are cheap and easy, which is appealing, but they are generally less precise than dedicated devices. Useful for hints and habits, yes. Suitable for diagnosing a sleep disorder, no. At the top of the pyramid are medical sleep studies, known as polysomnography. These measure brain waves, eye movement, muscle activity, breathing effort, oxygen levels, heart rhythm, leg movements, snoring, and sleep stages. That is the gold standard. See you again in the next podcast.